He's truly a shepherd, isn't he, Paul? A shepherd.
Excellent.
I heard Barry Smith and I were talking one day, and I know different people have different, I guess, thoughts when pastoring, and I'll do the word and let somebody else do all this other whatever, but a shepherd is where a sheep is.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, I think there has to be some balance there. You can't do it all.
Right.
But it doesn't nullify the idea that the shepherd is where the sheep are.
Yes.
And,
he's definitely a shepherd. He rejects that CEO mentality, that model.
Yeah.
Okay, we're being recorded, so everybody
Okay.
knows. And guess we'll go ahead and get started. Looking at the Master's Professional Faculty Development, their agenda. Obviously,
I think it's your second page,
nope, third page.
third page.
There you go.
We have all kinds of things here.
The thing we want to start with is, it's very important from a standpoint of continuing training and so forth and professional development a couple times a year to plug into the teachers to make sure that everybody's on the same page and the syllabus or syllabi are up to date and so forth. So that's very critical, and we mentioned it actually on one of the papers I gave you, but we'll be meeting twice a year. Now, we're going to try to video all these so that it would be available if you couldn't come online, so that it's a continual learning process for everybody, and we can go back and look at things if we need to and do all that. But we're here primarily today, I guess, since the class that you would be teaching actually is the next class will happen probably in the spring semester. So we wanted to talk about the syllabus, and of course Dr. Marquardt and Jack will be discussing that and going through that with us. And then of course also when we look at student learning outcomes, we have 4 student learning outcomes that for the master's program, and again one of those has to be assigned really in each syllabus as part of our mission and so forth. Textbook selecting, one of the things that the committee told us when they were here, they wanted us to get the latest and greatest books out there that we can offer the student. Now, they have to be solid books, obviously, in the process for getting textbooks approvals, but making sure that the books are up to date, and in the bibliography also is up to date is critical also. And then the culture environment for the master's program, I showed you the master's lounge, but the idea was that there'd be the development even for the faculty and the student that would be separate from the undergraduate, and so a little more focus on how we're studying, what and what we're doing and so forth. So all these things kind of fit into the picture as we begin the master's program. First class actually starts at 5 o'clock tonight. So again, I already mentioned we are videoing what we've got going here. I think obviously we've got a great facility. We've got what we need. We're in the process of trying to update our technology, make sure that we offer the students current technology as well as the professors opportunities to use those things, so that it all fits together. So again, that's kind of our goal today, and we wanted to sit down and go especially through the syllabus and make sure that we have one Dr. Marquardt and Jack will put together for the first class, and they'll be going through that to kind of give us ideas of how we need to update, I think, the one that we have for your class. So I'll turn it over to Jack and Dr. Marquardt at this point.
Okay, John, thank you so much. I may add a comment on creating a master's student cultural environment. In that master's center that we have, we do have a telephone. We want to encourage the master teachers, professors to have areas of conversation. We may have guest speakers that would come in that could meet in that area. We have a marking board available, a smart board, whatever development that room can bring, so that the student can get that a strong sense that we're master students, and this room creates that more also, other than just a classroom. And I'm excited that over 500 square feet, along with the kitchen and restroom facilities, it's all there for them. We just happen to have that once we moved to the additional facilities. So again, everyone here is excited about the master's program. Rob Hopkins, who helps develop agendas, and not everybody can always be at one place at one time. So we, as John said, we do video, and we try to, in these professional development sessions, we try to address the most critical areas that we need to to address, and that helps us become stronger in our master's program. We did look, and we have...
Jack, just let me interrupt. I wanted to double check. I know we had a time frame. I didn't know whether that changed or not, or...
I'm good.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, because...
Okay. The Ohio Board of Regents did approve our first master's course syllabus, and Clifford and I, along with the commission, and especially with our chair of the commission, Rob Hopkins, that oversees the assessment, the development, and especially the leadership relevant to the essence of a master's program. He's well adversed with Ohio Board of Regents, as well as PhD, and so he understands that level of expectancies, that culture of high expectation. And so, having approval, Clifford, do you have a syllabus for Tim? But we're going to give him a hard copy to take with him, okay? Mm-hmm. And Tim, the two areas that, there we go, thank you. The two areas that we want to look at in the syllabus is the textbooks, the bibliography, and that assessment of the student learning outcome. When we go through the syllabi, then and we talk about key components, the mission statement, I mean, those are in here, then we'll want you to go back, and because it's obvious that we wouldn't want to take up 6 or 7 hours of time here, and then you would design your course after this framework. And then this is how we will do every person individually. And then if you have time, the chair of the committee, Dr. Hopkins, has asked if we can have, around the 1st of October, if we can have a rough draft to him, and then we will have that prepared and ready for the Ohio Board of Regents by December the 1st, maybe before Thanksgiving. So you get the one-on-one attention, plus the idea of our faculty in service here, and those couple professors that, again, we can never get everybody together at one time, but videoing, they'll get all the information, the handouts, and they'll watch the video. We'll document that they've watched that, and questions that they may have, they can email Rob or or John or any person that's on the commission. So starting now on the syllabus, a key component, and don't get me wrong when I say this, but education in higher education is far different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And the first syllabus that the auditing team from Ohio Regions looked at was Dr. Marquardt's. They thought it was okay to some degree, but it had lots of areas that needed strengthening in. Well, the same thing with you know, your syllabi and Steve Willis's, Matt Shamlin, you know, right on down the line. So don't feel bad.
Sure.
Because we all took a shellacking whenever they came in, but that's okay. Now we know exactly updated research, what they're looking for, and we want someone to help us so that we can say the master's program is the very best that we can offer. And so you can see the first page, basic information. You know, it's optional whether or not you want to put your picture on the front. I think that's good in some ways. People that other than the students may look at these, they'll know what you look like. Now, whether that's has anything to do with the price of rice in China, I don't know. But it is good. So if you want to insert one, feel free. But you can see basically the order, how that we have placed that, and Clifford is showing that
That's
on the
just
screen.
contact information.
On the screen as we see. So I won't belabor that point. But again, you can see the format that we're following. You will find, Tim, that when we hit the key components, and then you have a chance to look through here, it doesn't take long, and Clifford will send you his syllabus. Clifford, make a note to send Tim your syllabus, because a lot of this you can just you know, cut and paste or whatever. Then you don't having to retype over.
Okay.
We want structure, and we're using Turabian as our research source. A lot of people, like myself, don't particularly care for Kate, but but this is what we have in our undergraduate and also for our masters. I'm the kind of person that the substance is what I'm after, not whether I'm a quarter inch off or not. But I know there's discipline in that, and I know there's purposes in it. The next important area that's already designed, and there's nothing that you have to do with that, and that is the master's mission.
Excuse me.
And
Can I get your email?
t.yates@lmbc.org.
Give me that again. Al what?
lmbc.org.
Okay. Thank you.
okay, so the master's mission statement is very critical, and you know this mission statement, you know, is the path, the direction, that expectations that we have for our Masters of Bible and Theology, Masters of Arts of Bible and Theology. So that has already been developed. Again, Rob Hopkins helped us, you know, with this, and from this we've also developed a mission statement for our undergraduate program. And we have an overall mission statement of the college, Train Faithful Service, but we needed to get more into the weeds and be projecting exactly what we want the undergraduate degree and the master's degree to look like. So we appreciated OBR on that, and so we were able to jump right on that again with Dr. Hopkins, and we felt that we have a pretty good master's mission.
You should
And of
have
course,
that.
sorry.
You should have that.
And of course, from the master's mission, that's where everything else develops from. So, again, that's an easy do-over. Clifford, can you put your syllabi back up, please? The next is course description, item number 1. In every catalog, we know that you have to have a course description. The course description that you have, there was no changes. I don't believe we had any changes in his course description, was there? I don't believe there was any change in yours. I know there wasn't, because that was approved, and I know that you didn't have a problem with that description. So you would have your course description, and we can send that to you if you do not have that, okay? Brother Clifford, that's the course description of Tim's. Okay, you'd have to go back and find that, but right now that's not important in the sense of pinning that down, because that's already been developed in our application to OBR. The second is student learning outcomes. The student learning outcomes, and Steve and Matt and you other folks,
Here's your course description, Tim. And you might want to compare that to the template. Let me just take a look at that.
we're going back up then.
Yeah. Won't take long. And I might,
This is on the application. We had to give all the course descriptions, the courses as well as the description. I don't believe it changed, Clifford.
I don't think that's what he has though on his syllabus. That's what I'm checking.
Okay.
Give me a second here, we'll get to it. Okay, here we go. Advanced Principles of Bible Study. Okay, this right here is what you need.
Yeah. It's the same as what's on the first syllabi that he had written.
That sounds like what you had.
Now, I read it. I read it on his syllabi. That's what's on there.
That's what you had. Okay.
I think the only difference was introduction to Turabian formatting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Introduction to that would be,
So that's what you have to use, okay?
That one right
Yes,
there.
yes.
Now, can you copy and paste and email me that,
and you
please?
can, change that to Turabian, because that's what we decided we're gonna use. Of course, I kinda like Turabian, we used it at Luther Rice. It worked.
I had to use your
I like
Luther
the
Rice
Turabian.
too.
Yeah. You want me to copy and paste that?
Well, did you all mail that? I don't think I have a copy of it.
I could send you this whole thing.
That's
if you want.
basically what I have written on, except I changed the course will be included,
Yes.
introduction to Arabian formatting, correct citations.
Well, I think you're okay on that.
Clifford, just for the sake of time, can you just copy that and send that to him, okay?
Yeah.
If you can. The next that second area that is critical is the student learning outcomes. And I have, do you have, John, with you, the master's student learning outcomes?
Actually, I think I just emailed them to him.
Okay. Here is, and also the other men that will be joining us through video, they'll need those, okay?
Yep.
But we have 4 of them, and you can see we have the mission statement, and then we have the introduction to the 4 student learning outcomes. And when you think of student learning outcomes, you think of the student, what they're receiving in the training and equipping in the classroom. But from that, how are they going to be able to use that? The master's program is not about content, because they've received most of that in the undergraduate, and you're going to have that content, but it's about building up on biblical content and then doing something with it. Examples, small learning groups, initiating conflict resolution courses, taking the Word of God and putting boots on it, boots on the ground. I think the term practical application is too weak. I think you have to demonstrate specifically what you're going to use this class instruction to meet the mission statement of the course, as well as the overall mission statement of the college: train faithful servants for tomorrow, today. And so when you're looking at an outcome, and the one that I believe that will be a help to you, and Clifford, if you have your learning outcomes up, or you can find them.
You're ahead of me now.
Yeah.
You're 3 miles ahead of me.
Yeah. What we're looking at, Tim, is you can see they're in the 4 categories: biblical and theological knowledge, servant leadership, spiritual discernment and maturity, and vocationally equipped. And then we have explanations by each one of those, and you, again, looking from the video standpoint of view, as you have this, then that learning outcome specifically that reflects the mission statement and the objectives, the 4 objectives or 5 that you have in the syllabi itself, is very relevant and important. So Dr. Yates, if you were looking at these 4 here, and your course is about advanced research methods, what area do you think best student learning outcome best describes or fits that that course?
The best would be that one. Of course, all of them are involved, but probably the biblical and theological knowledge.
So the biblical and theological knowledge. So what you would have
That's the one I have.
on Clifford's, and you can see that on Clifford's here, you can see where we have student learning outcomes. Now again, that's Roman numeral number 2. Biblical and theological knowledge, demonstrating proficiency in biblical and theological interpretation and analysis, and then student learning outcome, SLO, assessment. Now the assessment piece for this learning outcome, again, that guides the development of the course objectives along with the mission statement. It says to write, and you can see it right here. Let's see, Clifford, he doesn't have that one, okay?
I'm working on another one.
Okay. We just have to try to move on or we'll never get through. There's just so much to go through and over.
I need your email again too.
T
Huh?
Okay.
T
Mhm.
dot Yates
Okay.
LMBC at .org. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
.org.
Oh, TNBC.org.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, back to the student learning outcome. In the Advanced Principles of Bible Study, is student learning outcome SLO assessment. It says write a synopsis of the 4 course objectives as related to demonstrating proficiency in biblical and theological interpretation and analysis. In other words, the student at the end of the course should be able to, from the 4 objectives, give a working definition of how they're going to take this course relevant to demonstrating proficiency in biblical and theological interpretation analysis, how that they're going to be using that. And again, you know, they may say small groups. They may talk about how that through their research they've gotten more tools to teach others those tools. See, the idea is not to get it for yourself, but how are you going to be using that? That's the application part of the Masters. The Masters is about application, doing, and not just hearing content. So we have designed, and this also, and I want to give you a copy. John, he should have a copy
I gave him 3.
of the Masters of Arts in Bible and Theology Assessment Plan document.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
you should have a copy of that. So, so that is important about that student learning outcome. What they're going to learn in order to better their ministry, help others, and again, I know this is redundancy, but I just want to try to make it as clear, you know, as I can. So just backing up a second, because these are critical areas. The basic general information that the Master's Course Syllabus has, and again, if you want to put your picture, the critical piece begins with the mission statement, and then we begin with number 1, the course description, followed by number 2, student learning outcome or outcomes. And you've identified that you felt like the one under biblical and theological knowledge would be the best with its explanation that fits the course description. Okay, and also the mission statement. All that has to align and kind of osmosis itself. The course objectives is number 3. And again, we're looking at Dr. Marquardt's syllabi. The course objectives. But before I go on, because we've had 2 or 3 important areas there, what questions or comments do you have? I know when you have a doctorate, you know, you've kind of been this route one way or another. It may look different, but you've been there. Under the course objectives, again, you can see the format. This course advances the mission statement the mission of Tri-State Bible College Master's Art Program by preparing the learner. Clifford, you can see to secure, you can see it has it right there perfect. To secure relevant online resources, and I'm going to walk up there and it may not, the camera may not pick me up. But
Email that to you,
if you,
that description.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
if you look at this, you can see the actual objective itself. Now we've given some more explanation to that objective. This is something you probably have never seen, Tim, or you may have. But we gave an explanation that this objective will be achieved by making Logos 6 Gold software a requirement for advanced principles of Bible study. In other words, here is the objective. This is just saying it in a simpler way. But we wanted to say it, and Clifford and I and the Master's Commission, as we were working on this, we wanted to state it so that you could actually, now I hear it in more of a professional sense, but now it's more of a working sense. Then I wanted to add a little assessment idea with it, and maybe further explanation. I mean, how is this going to benefit me or help me in my ministry or my life's work for the Lord? In addition to the use in this course, this software will serve, and again, keep in mind, this is under an objective. This software will serve as a tool for future applications in Bible study, small group leadership studies, teaching, and vocational preaching. So we have a good, clean statement, somewhat of a working definition of that statement, and then we see the assessment piece of it, how we're going to use it for our ministry. Now we follow this sequence through all four of the objectives. Now Clifford, on B here, there we go. On B here, I wanted to show that third part. The students will be prepared to teach others how to use the Logos software so they can better learn and apply the teachings of their Bible to their daily lives. You see a similarity between this one and this one up here, but there's differences. Okay, Brother Clifford, on C, okay, C, and you can see how we stay with this objective to bring it on up a little bit, Brother Clifford. We've got it down at the bottom. There it is. Again, relevant to the student. These skills can be used to prepare teaching, discussions, and study materials addressing contemporary topics now from a biblical framework. If a student at the end of the course, when that SLO question is asked, write a synopsis of all four of the objectives of this course. And that synopsis should be how it's, as Howard Hendricks would say, now how is it going to change your life? I saw it, I developed it, but now how is it going to change my life? And that's what that synopsis, should be. So you can see, and Dr. Hopkins mentioned that staff at Ohio Board of Regents really liked this. So we expanded it to make it more sensible, useful, and not just some stoic statement up there. It should be a living type document like the Word of God. And then on D, the fourth objective, students will be able to communicate biblical principles and concepts in accessible and impressionable manners within a variety of mythological
Missiological.
setting. I have trouble with that word. Settings. So when you look at the SLO, you look at the course description, the master's mission statement, and now the 4 objectives with further explanation in each objective, plus how students can react to more of an assessment flavor to each of these objectives. You can see how simple this is now, but yet how powerful. This is the engine of those components that I just mentioned that support the master's syllabi, your course syllabi. Okay, any questions on that? Okay.
And we're calling these, Tim,
Sir?
we decided to call them course objectives. I think the word goal maybe is more of a general statement. I've always been confused on goals versus objectives.
It's where you want to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you want to go. So now the next area, again, pretty simple, but yet critical. Required course textbooks and materials. And as John pointed out, as we continue to update our undergraduate, and we have updated our masters, if Dwight Pentecost, on Things to Come, if he had a new revised version of that, OBR says, and rightfully so, that that's what you want to use. Now, it's not that you couldn't use that other one as a reference, because maybe in the new text he doesn't, or that writer would not address some particular area that you'd like to refine or look at again. But in the textbooks or text, we want to use the latest relevant to the subject that you're teaching. Now that makes sense to you because
Absolutely.
this subject itself
Right.
dictates, that to be, if you have,
This one is 1981.
and this is what they were saying.
I had to get them from all over the place.
Used copies.
I use Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Got them from all over the world, just about.
So even if a favorite author, theologian, there's other theologians that's graduating throughout this country in the last 5-10 years that, as you well know as I know, Pentecost, Spurgeon, Walvoord, the great men, but God still has other great men coming, and we want to use the earliest or the latest text that we can. The same thing for in area 5 recommended reading. We want to use that. The same thing as it is in our master's meeting today, faculty development. The same thing with the bibliography. We want to make sure that we have the most recent research, because you're creating that dementia of scope and sequence in the learner's mind. So you don't want to tell them about a 1918 Ford, and you want something that goes much faster on the highway. So you're going to bring them up to speed where the latest development is. Now that brings us to, and the rest of the syllabi, ADA statement, academic honesty, those things are again all standards that you will, you're going to find that is important. Okay, we put those in there because it's been highly recommended by Title 1, 4, 6, 9, all the titles to make sure they're in there, and so we want to be in compliance. Under number 6, this is the last.
Number 5.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Robinson?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the 3rd edition. So, it's a 2014. And, that's just recommended reading.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay, under course schedule. Now, we're not going to go through this today because this is what takes so much time. But I do want to re-emphasize, you know, how to disseminate, and you know how to do that to get to those course objectives. And the explanation, the further explanation that we use, and then the assessment blend nuance that we put in there as well. And following this one approved syllabi, and then we'll take another look at, once you finish it, we can look at it, Tim, and maybe tweak it together, and that helps the commission, and that helps each person. And finally, when we go through all the courses, and everyone has gone through individually as well as in-service meetings, in service, John will always, and Rob will always be having discussions about the syllabi. I mean, that's going to be on the agenda every time, because this is your Bible, this is your roadmap, as well as you all know. So take time to look at, for example, bring up week 1 there. Let's just take one look at week 1.
okay. This is what I'm gonna cover tonight. We're gonna go over the syllabus. And I'm gonna do Logos 6, the first 3 sections. It's a video, it's a streaming video. You just,
Yes, I've
pull it
seen it.
down, and each student will have that, but tonight they won't have it because this stuff hasn't been really done yet. And then in the readings, I need someone, I'm giving an assignment for next session. It will include a leader who will be responsible to lead the discussion of pages 1 to 14 of the New Joy of Discovery in Bible Study. Also a leader who will lead the discussion of pages 5 to 28 of the 12 Dynamic Bible Study Methods for individuals or groups. That's the 2 textbooks we're using. And then I identify those readings here in the middle one. And then in the third column, I've got the assignment, write a 400-word response to, each student has to do this now. A 400-word response to the reading and joy of discovery. And then they have to download Logos 6 Gold and carefully work through lessons 1 to 3, sometime between now and the next session. And make sure they have that working. And they need to write a 400-word response to the reading of the second textbook. And then in red, we're headed for a paper that will be due at the end of the class. And there's 2 pages, 27 and 28. They examine all 12 dynamic Bible study methods. And it's previewed on pages 27 and 28 of the textbook. And they have to select the Bible study method they plan to use in developing a biblical concept that you will expand into a paper. This selection must be completed and approved by your instructor by the 5th week of class. See Appendix A for the steps involved in developing a biblical concept. So that's where we're headed on that.
So you can see, Tim, that you're not writing a dissertation, but if you set your mind, that first week, what sequence do I need to begin with, and then structure that in your mind, as you will know and you do, and then this is the format that we follow. And then if you look at number 2 week there, again, you can see the reading, the discussion. It's like in public education 40 years ago, we had a simple thing called lesson plan. And you had a book that had square blocks in it. Now the teacher would just abbreviate, you know, read so-and-so, discuss the little red fox that went up the hill, or the little train that couldn't go, or whatever. And this is similar, but the student looking at this, it has to be brief but clear enough, and Clifford has made it clear. For example, there for Logos 6 exposure to lessons 4 and 5 of Logos Academic Training Manual LAT. You know, he doesn't have to say more about that. So I said all that to say this. It's not to be a cumbersome, but again, each week a student can look at that and say, well, I know where I need to be next week. And when you get down to the 15th, 16th week, you may find that somewhere you go back up and make a little adjustment. Well, the next time that you would teach the course, then you know you can go in and do and watch the video that we're going to take for every classroom. And you can go back in it after watching the video, or you would just know yourself and say, you know, I need to spend more time here than that. And that's critical assessment for yourself as far as an instructor. So this is something, once you sit down and you do the 4 objectives and the extent that they are developed, and then you actually get into the course schedule, then you know you can just walk your way through that. It's more than just a guide, but you don't have to be, you know, so elaborate that no one wants to read it. Now, do you have any questions on the course schedule and how we have week 1, the class topics, the readings, and the assignments?
Took a way through it.
Yeah. And again, it's not as scary as it seems.
Let me just play one of these for you. I just pull it down. Takes about 1 minute.
Hello, my name is Morris Proctor. I'm the authorized trainer for Logos Bible software. And right out of the box, I want to congratulate you on securing your copy of Logos. You are going to be thrilled with you can execute with this incredible tool. And also, thank you for obtaining this video training.
Now, what is this,
My goal is
Clifford?
to help